Most people think they already know why Jesus died. They'll say, he died because people were evil. He died so we could be forgiven. He died because Rome crucified him. All of those are partially true, but none of them are the real reason. The truth is deeper, more uncomfortable, and far more powerful than most people realize. Because Jesus didn't die simply to cancel sins. He died to finish something that began at the very start of human history. To understand the cross, you have to go back to the garden. In Eden, humanity wasn't just innocent, they were aligned with God. No separation, no shame, no fear. But sin didn't just break a rule, it fractured a relationship. When Adam and Eve sinned, the consequence wasn't merely punishment, it was separation. God is holy, sin is corruption. The two cannot coexist. And from that moment on, humanity lived outside of God's presence. Not because God stopped loving humanity, but because holiness and rebellion cannot share the same space. That tension drives the entire Bible. Here's what many people misunderstand. God didn't struggle to forgive. He struggled to dwell with sinful humanity without destroying them. God's holiness is not cruelty, it's purity. Like fire, it gives life when controlled and destruction when touched recklessly. So the problem wasn't that God didn't want to forgive. The problem was that forgiveness alone doesn't restore communion. Sin creates a debt, but more importantly, it creates contamination. Something had to deal with both. This is why sacrifice appears so early in Scripture. Abel's offering, Noah's altar, Abraham's test, the Passover lamb, the entire sacrificial system of Israel. These weren't random rituals. They were temporary coverings, not permanent solutions. Leviticus tells us plainly, the life of the flesh is in the blood. It is the blood that makes atonement. Blood symbolized life given in place of life. But animal sacrifices had a fatal flaw. They weren't equal to the debt. They could cover sin, but they could never erase it. Every sacrifice pointed forward to something greater, or rather, someone. Jesus didn't appear as God wearing human skin. He was born. He grew. He felt hunger, exhaustion, grief, temptation. Why does that matter? Because justice requires equivalence. Humanity sinned. Humanity owed the debt. Only a human could pay it. But no ordinary human qualified because every human was already corrupted by sin. Jesus entered history as the only untainted human, conceived without sin, living without rebellion. He didn't just represent humanity, he was humanity, as it was meant to be. But being human wasn't enough. The debt of sin wasn't finite. Sin isn't just an action, it's a condition that multiplies across generations. No finite life could absorb it. Only God possesses infinite worth. Only God could bear infinite judgment without being destroyed by it. This is why Jesus wasn't half God and half man. He was fully both. Human enough to stand in our place, divine enough to survive the cost. One of the most dangerous ideas people believe is that Jesus died because things went wrong, as if God lost control, as if the cross was an accident. Scripture says otherwise. Jesus repeatedly told his disciples he would be betrayed, condemned, and killed, and rise again. Isaiah described the suffering servant centuries earlier. Psalm 22 details crucifixion before it was even invented. Revelation calls Jesus the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. The cross wasn't God reacting, it was God revealing.
The cross was not just physical suffering, it was cosmic substitution. On the cross, Jesus absorbed humanity's guilt, humanity's shame, humanity's separation, humanity's judgment. Paul writes that Jesus became sin for us. That doesn't mean he sinned. It means the full consequence of sin was placed upon him. For the first time in eternity, the Son experienced separation from the Father. That's why he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" That moment was the true agony of the cross, not nails, not blood, but abandonment. Jesus endured what sin ultimately leads to, separation from God, so humanity wouldn't have to. People mocked him. "If you're the Son of God, come down from the cross." But if Jesus had come down, the mission would have failed. Power wasn't the issue, completion was. Justice demanded the full weight of sin be carried to the end. Love demanded he stay, and so he did. When Jesus said, "It is finished," he wasn't expressing relief, he was declaring victory. The Greek word Tetelestai was a legal term. It meant paid in full. The debt wasn't postponed, it wasn't reduced, it wasn't negotiated, it was settled forever. When Jesus died, the veil in the temple tore from top to bottom. That veil separated the Holy of Holies, the presence of God, from humanity. Only one man could enter once a year. When it tore, God wasn't abandoning holiness, he was removing the barrier. Through Jesus, God could dwell with humanity again, not because sin was ignored, but because it was dealt with. If Jesus had stayed dead, the cross would have been a tragedy. The resurrection was the proof that sin was defeated, proof that death was conquered, proof that Jesus wasn't just a martyr, but the Messiah. Resurrection wasn't an afterthought, it was the confirmation that the sacrifice was accepted. Jesus didn't die simply to make bad people good. He died to make dead people alive. He didn't die to improve behavior. He died to restore relationship. He didn't die so you could try harder. He died so you could be reborn. The cross wasn't about appeasing an angry God. It was about a loving God absorbing justice himself so humanity could come home. Jesus' death doesn't force salvation. It offers it. The price has been paid, but a gift must be received. The real question isn't whether Jesus died for sins. The question is whether you'll trust what his death accomplished, because the cross didn't just change history, it changed what's possible. And it's still open. If you love Jesus and want more content like this, like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.